Okay, so we come back now, we're going to actually attach our wand to our gun. So this is a critical step. So the first thing we do is we take a whole bunch of thread tape, we wrap it around the end, right? No, we don't do that. So that's a mistake that I've seen. Again, what is our main purpose for the thread tape? We use it on things that we're going to remove frequently. So what's it going to do if we wrap it on the end of that wand? It's going to loosen up that connection between those two, and what's going to happen? Drip, 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 and it's going to twist sideways and all sorts of problems. So definitely do not use thread tape. That's a big X on that one. So get rid of that. We are going to use something else though, and that's that Loctite that we have in our parts supplier kit that we sent along. So another busy day here at BioClean. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Loctite, we're going to put our good blob of that on there. And do we just leave that blob on there? No, we take our finger, we fill in all the crevices of our threads with that as best as possible. Try and evenly distribute that as best as possible in there. Hopefully you can see that. So then the next step is to actually do just that. Thread those pieces together. We thread those together. All right. So we did as best we could by hand. So let's see what's the best way on this vise. Let's give this shot a try. We're going to need to get some wrenches on it, so I'm going to try and elevate that as best as possible. We'll tighten that down. You want to take a look at this. Again, this fitting that's welded on here is a 3/4 inch in size. So we're going to try and tighten it as best as we can with a 3/4 inch wrench. John, our welder, is really good at trying to keep the weld off of these flat surfaces for you guys, so it's easier to tighten and untighten these. Now our goal is we're going to get it tight, and we're going to end where this handle is sticking straight up in the air just like the rest of the gun. This part right here. Let's go ahead and work on that here right now. We don't need to over tighten it. What happens is if we over tighten it, since pipe thread is kind of triangular shaped, we can see that stainless is hard. This is going into a brass tee that's soft. So if we over tighten it, we're actually going to spread the brass apart, and there is a chance that there's only so much give in the brass, it could actually crack. So we don't want to over tighten. I've seen guys actually do that. They just reef on it and just get it super tight. It's really unnecessary, especially with the Loctite. That not only prevents it from spinning out, but it also acts as a sort of sealant. Just don't want to break this wrench with that working out that I've been doing, so I got to be careful. Snap-on, you're really upset with me if I broke that wrench again. It's like the 5th one I've gone through this week. It gets very expensive for Snap-on when I'm doing that, so just a little bit of a tweak. I think we're pretty good right there. I don't know, how does that look to you? So now let's take a look at that connection. We see that red Loctite is in there. Again, like I said, it is kind of a plastic. It acts as a thread sealant, and it also locks these two pieces together. So now that gun is all connected. So we've got that gun all connected, and now we're almost to the point that we're going to attach it, but just to kind of go over some of the things that are on the gun, some features if you hadn't noticed them already. We're going to connect our pressure line to this side. We've got this part, it's called a dead swivel, meaning that when the hose is attached to this and tightened, this part does not spin anymore. This is a live swivel, so even after the connections are tight, it's going to swivel, so that's going to allow us to rotate this gun back and forth very easily. We've got our trigger, we've got the injector, which injects the chemical into The water, as it passes through, mixes and goes out the end of your gun. We have a check valve right here. What this does is it prevents the water, as it goes around this side of things, prevents the water from actually coming back around on the back side of the injector and pushing your chemical back out to two different chemical drums. So that's the purpose of the check valve. This is your chemical selector switch. So, of course, we have forward and reverse. We start with it back. This is where your acidic side or pre-wash side is going to go in. You flip it all the way forward for alkaline soap. That's where that's going to be. And when we're done doing chemical, that goes in the middle. And we're not drawing either one. For the chemical to work, however, this valve actually has to be closed. This is called the bypass. So this valve has to be closed because water is allowed to go around the other side. Pressure between one side of the injector to the other is going to be equal. The injector does not work if there is not a pressure drop. So with this valve open, no pressure drop, it's not going to work. So rinse water is going to go and shoot out the end. And that's where we could have actual rinse water go back into our chemical drums if this check valve wasn't in there. So again, for chemical to work, that valve is going to be closed. When we want to rinse, we open that up. And we're going to notice an actual flow increase. Everybody thinks, oh, you're getting more pressure out of it when you open that valve. Honestly, you probably get less pressure, but you are getting more flow. So we go from about maybe 6.5 gallons with the excuse me, with that valve closed. We open that, we're going to get about 8. So those are the features of the gun. But let's take the next step now. We're going to attach this gun to our actual wash hose. There's some tricky parts to that, so let's take a look at that video next.